Hey, we got a special treat for you. We got Josh here today from Vanlife Outfitters in Sarasota, Florida. He's going to give us a tour of the van that he built. Josh, thanks for sharing your van with us today.
Thanks for having me. A culmination of all the things that I hated about my first van that I wanted to change, and I fixed them in this van. So this is kind of the 2.0 of that iteration of that first van.
Stay to the very end because you might be able to get your hands on this very van. So with that, let's have Josh give us a tour around the van interior. We're going to start right here. Then we're going to talk about the galley and then the bathroom and the bed. And this has a lithium system in it, so we're going to jump outside and show you that as well. So Josh, show us what we're looking at here. So this looks like a lagoon table. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, it's a lagoon table with swivels on the driver and passenger seat so that you can turn the driver's seat around, and you have a little table for two here. And you know, when the driver's seat is not turned around, if it's one person traveling, you have a table for one or a workstation, whatever you want to do here.
Right. Super great to have an outlet down here, so if you want to use this as a work surface, you can do that.
Yeah, my first van, I was tired of running cords crisscross all over the van like a spider web, so I put outlets in very strategic places where I knew I was going to be using them. Another thing that I hated about my first van was tracking dirt and dust into the van coming back from a long hike. So I put in shoe storage here that is conveniently located right near the entrance of the van. So what I normally do is I just sit Mr. Rogers style and take my shoes off, throw them in here.
Oh, yeah.
And I also have, you know, shoe and sandal storage in here. And it's really great for, you know, just not tracking that dirt and dust in the van.
Super clever.
I threw some hooks here for hats and towels drying, jackets drying, coming in from the rain. You know, obviously the Promaster storage, the clutch Promaster storage is up here. Got tons of cabinet space.
And this is actual wood, right?
Yeah, this is wood. This is wood paneling.
Wood paneling.
And on the back side is a really intricate insulation system. I'm all about insulation. Without nerding out too much, it's got the Rhino liner for soundproofing on the outside. It's got another kill mat on the inside, and then it's got Thinsulate, an air gap, low E, which is a reflective radiant barrier, and then another air gap, and then a 1/2-inch wall, and then the wall paneling. So it is super quiet in here. I didn't put windows in this van specifically because I like it super quiet and super climate controlled. So there's no windows in this van. I always figured, I didn't really use my windows in the first van. You know, I always had my doors open, but I figured if anybody ever wanted to buy this van, I could throw a window pretty easily in it for them.
And speaking of thermal dynamics, you have this really awesome blackout curtain here, which helps a thermal break, right?
Yeah, this is honestly just a this is just a moving blanket that I have magnets that keeps it closed, yeah, it does a really good job of keeping it. My first van, I didn't have any insulation on that curtain, and it definitely was not as good.
Trash can? Pretty
cool.
Yeah,
trash can here. I actually, when I designed the van, I actually was planning to make this my trash and laundry drawer, but I realized that I had a dead space back there behind the seat, so I made that my trash, and now I have extra food storage space.
This is so great. So is the galley, because this is kind of unusual. It's a lower height, which is cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, give us a run through on this.
Yeah, I wanted the van to feel really open, so I don't have any cabinets on this side. So when you walk into the van, you can see all the way to the back. And having lower cabinets makes it also feel a little bit more open, and it's not really an issue for me cooking wise and stuff like that. So the counters are really low. It's got a slim 1/2-inch. This is a product from Formica called Phoenix, and it's a really beautiful matte black finish. It actually doesn't scratch very easily, but if it does scratch, you can take a wet towel and iron over the scratch, and it will clear the scratches out. So really high-tech material, very lightweight, flexible, and it's the perfect, in my opinion, it's the perfect countertop material for van life. And then this material is also a Formica type material, and on my first van I just had regular painted cabinets, and they would scratch and they would ding, and I would get all kinds of you know, discoloration on those, and these is just like bomb proof. They're plastic on plywood, Baltic birch plywood, and these are like indestructible. Indestructible.
Yeah. That's a great color.
Yeah, and these latches are twist lock latches, so you can you have to twist to open them, and then they lock shut.
That's cool.
Really, really
So we got a couple things going on here. I'm guessing soap.
Yep.
Faucet. And
this water is just regular, and then this one is filtered. I have a filter system in the back of this cabinet here, two-stage filtration process.
And we can see a little bit of the wall you talked about here, a little bit of cubby storage.
Yeah.
Before we turn around, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so this was the company that I started with my friend during the pandemic. And so I don't have anything to do with that company anymore, but I think they're still building out vans. And so we have here front LEDs, the rear LEDs, and these are really cool dimmer switches that you can just hold your finger on the button and it will dim them and undim them. That's and then these are the switches for the desktop LED, which is the LED over the dining workstation there. And those LEDs change colors and patterns. You can have a whole nightclub in here. And then the floor LED is the one down here.
I'm glad you brought that up. It's really cool mood lighting.
Yeah.
And it's really great at night, I bet.
Yeah, and I have so you can kind of see here.
Oh, yeah.
I have
that's cool. It is a nightclub. Vegas High Roller Suite on wheels.
Yeah, so you can control that with this little remote. You can control the floor LEDs. You can sync them together. It's really, really fun when you have a group of people in here having some libations.
Right, libations. We love those.
We'll have some libations at the Florida Van Life Gathering, and we'll set up the light show. And then the floor heater, I have a 36-inch heat mat under this floor, basically in the cooking area, so that when you wake up in the morning and you want to make coffee, you don't want to step on a cold floor. When you're in bed, you just hit that button, and the floor starts heating up. In about 10-20 minutes, you got a nice toasty floor, and you don't have to step on a cold floor. And then here's the heater. It's a diesel Webasto Airtop 2000 heater. And you can control the temperature from bed. Everything is controllable from bed here.
Which is super important. And with Bosco, that's kind of synonymous with using chassis fuel line.
Yeah, it uses very low fuel. It runs on 12 volt, and it taps into your fuel tank. Most of the vans have a fuel tapping port, and we actually sell a kit at Vanlife Outfitters that has all the parts that you need. We have a really great video on how to install those heaters, and that heater is actually installed behind this cabinet. In this cabinet here, there's a false back on this cabinet, and then behind that false back, the heater is in there, so you can't actually see the heater. And then the duct runs behind the closet here. And there's the exhaust for the heater.
Right here.
Yeah.
So smart.
And so we sell that heater. We sell it as a kit that has silencers that are really really cool that a lot of people don't carry. There's a silencer kit that silences the exhaust and the intake, so it's super quiet. This is a closet slash toilet, and then up here you have the inverter. Switch. You have 110 volt outlet, you have 12 volt outlet, and then that's a switch for the water heater that we'll talk about in a minute, and then my battery monitor.
Very cool.
And this toilet,
how does this work?
Yeah, so it looks pretty crazy. My first van, I had a composting toilet, and I'd never used it. I used it for number 1. And didn't really ever use it for number 2. In 3.5 years on the road, I never went number 2 in it. I just would go at the gym and campgrounds and outside, and I just wasn't using this $1,100 composting toilet. But I was using it for number 1, and I was changing out the tank, emptying the urine tank almost like every few days, and it got really annoying. So on this van, I was just like, okay, I'll build the closet that will fit a composting toilet if anybody ever wanted it, but that's not the way I want to roll. And so this diverts the urine under the van into the gray water tank, and it also has a bypass so that if I'm out in public land or anywhere, I can bypass that tank and it just goes straight into the ground. And so basically you sit on here, there's a fan built into this to prevent any smells, but number one goes straight down and out of the van. You never have to empty any tanks. And number two, if you have an emergency, you can just put a trash bag in there and you can go number two. But I've been living in a van full-time for 3.5 years, 5 years part-time, and I've never had a situation where I needed to go number two that bad, where I had to go inside the van. And so I just wanted to be done with emptying the urine tank. So this is kind of like a set it and forget it.
Yeah, I just got to say the Home Depot bucket's kind of funny. You're a much bigger man than me, sir. I love my wet flush toilet and carrying all my stuff around with me. But super clever. Now, if this van's for sale, so somebody wants a more traditional toilet, composting, something of that nature, this will accommodate something like that.
Yeah, I can put in a composting toilet, a cassette toilet. But I built this cabinet, this closet, so that will accommodate a composting toilet or a cassette toilet.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so this is a refrigerator that we actually brought to the market a couple of years ago. It's called the Vitrifrigo Slim 150. And really cool refrigerator. One of the things that bothered me about my first van was I had an under-the-counter refrigerator, and I just broke my back putting away, one of these type refrigerators. And every time I wanted to put away groceries, I would have to like get down and get in the catcher's stance or sit on the floor to put away groceries, and it was just really, really annoying. And so I really wanted an eye-level refrigerator to make it feel like a home. And so that's what I put in this van. Control, and then don't have much food in here right now. I haven't been camping long term in a while, but this is your freezer here, a really nice size, almost a cubic foot freezer here, and then really nice size refrigerator, and then the pièce de résistance. For us for you wine lovers, you have a dedicated. This is a European style refrigerator, but this is for tall bottles. If you like sparkling water or wine or tall, milk or whatever, this is what this drawer is. It's a part of the refrigerator, so it's not. It's the same temperature as the refrigerator. It's not a specific wine temperature, but it's really nice to have. If you have anything big in here,
huge.
Yeah, it's really, really nice size. So this fridge is 150 cubic liters of storage, which is a lot for a van.
That's great.
Yeah.
A couple drawers here. Then we want to talk about the bed, then jump outside. There's some really cool stuff you want to see out there. So how's the storage? Is that what these are?
Yeah, these are all storage. Tons of storage. I have eight drawers in here. This drawer, one of the things that bothered me on my first van was charging stuff. So I would leave stuff on my counter, and then I'd forget, like my drone or something, I'd forget about it, and then I'd start driving, and then I'd be like, oh no. So I wanted a place to charge things while I'm driving. So I put an outlet in here so that, and I actually have it's not in here right now, but I have a piece of foam that goes on the bottom so that nothing gets scratched up. But you put your cell phones, you could put your drone, everything in here while you're driving to charge up. And then everything else is just regular drawers.
And I see another Lagoon table mount here, so you can move the table from the great room, as I call it, to this, so you can actually work from bed. Or,
breakfast in bed, work from bed,
so.
movie night. I put my laptop up here, and you can watch movies and work. So you never have to leave bed. I got the bed low enough so that when I'm sitting in bed, I can sit up comfortably and type away.
Now, how big approximately, Josh, is the bed here?
It's a full-size bed. It's 55 by 75 long.
So you sleep east to west is kind of the way it's known versus north-south.
Yeah, one of the great things about the Promaster is it's the widest chassis, so you can actually fit a full-size bed in here without having to do any modifications to the mattress.
Or bump outs, which
is
popular.
No flares, no bump outs. It's just, so if you wanted an even longer bed, if you were like, oh, this is a 6'3" bed, but if you were an NBA player, you could always add bump outs to this and make it like a 7-foot bed.
That's crazy. And I do like, this is kind of a good view here, so no cabinet, so really smooth, open look, and then the cabinets, smartly, are where your feet would be.
Yeah.
And it's kind of behind the fridge, so visually, you don't feel like you're enclosed with cabinets, which is kind of a typical van feel. So this is pretty smart.
A couple other things. I definitely wanted a spice rack in my van, so right now I just have some toiletries and stuff. But when you're cooking right here, it's really nice to just not have to open drawers because it's such a tight space. You can just grab, I have it set up for 2 deep on the spices. So that's, you know, when I'm living full time in the van, I got all my spices there. This bottom drawer here is an actual step to get up into bed. And this is on 500-pound sliders, so 2 people could stand on this and it wouldn't break. But this is on a 500-pound slider, and then it's actual storage in there as well.
So smart.
Yeah.
So smart. And you mentioned cooking. I don't see a cooktop here, so do you use induction? Is that kind of the deal?
Yeah, so this is actually my cooking system. This is a Jetboil Genesis, and the reason why I went with this cooking system is because on my first van I had an induction cooktop, but I wanted to take my van, I wanted to take my cooktop camping when I would go on like little hikes and trips like that, and not necessarily backpacking trips, but like little 1-night or 2-night trips with a group of friends. And having 2 cooktops in the van just doesn't make sense. So I didn't want a camping cooktop and a van cooktop. So I have this all. This is my everything. So I like having one thing that serves multiple purposes versus multiple things that serve the same purpose.
Yeah.
So this is a really cool thing. It's super light. It comes with a skillet. It comes with a lid. It comes with the cooking apparatus, and then it comes with a pot.
Cook pot.
And this is super easy to use. I love cooking with propane, and voila, you're all set up to start cooking. And so this can be taken to a picnic table if you're at a campground. It can be taken here, so you can cook. This folds down and it creates an outdoor cooking table. So I've been at campgrounds, and I get there at the same time as somebody else, and they're setting up a table and chairs and all that stuff, and I just flip that down,
Meanwhile, you're
open that, and I'm cooking before they even have their whole campsite.
So just a couple things. I've never seen this before. So this is where the pot rests.
Yeah.
This is propane. So you have a hose that goes to a.
So
See, look at that. It's
your
really
pot goes
cool.
there, your skillet goes there, and then it hooks up to a regular, green propane canister you would get at Walmart.
So you just kind of screw it in here.
Yep.
So it's like a little hose, probably though.
Yeah, it comes with a little hose that fits right in here, and yeah,
Super cool.
Yeah, you're super set
I
up.
love the color. Orange is my favorite color. So you.
But I do have it set up that if you do want to have an induction cooktop, I put outlets here, and actually put outlets right by that fold-down table in the doorway. So you get the best of both worlds.
So transformer cooktop. So let's reassemble this. That's.
Yeah, so it's really easy.
They're emptying the garbage next door, guys. Sorry about the noise, but.
Yeah, so
I've never seen that before. It's so interesting. So the cooktop fits inside the pot.
yep. And then the lid goes there, and then that goes, and it's like kind of bomb-proof when you're taking it hiking. You can bang it around and stuff like that. This is like a little wind guard that it comes with. I never really used that, but and then everything just kind of folds in here, zips up.
And it goes into the step.
So that just goes in there.
Super smart. Well, thanks for showing us that.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. So let's jump outside and look at the bed from the other side. There's some storage there, and we want to talk about the lithium system because you're big on the lithium. Let's jump out and look at the back. I think this is pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about this in a minute. So this is the back of the van. So for me, for the first time, howdy. My name is Scott. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Go Small, Live Large, all about the Class B travel experience. Thanks for watching today. So there's a few things going on. Storage, shower, this slide-out tray, super interesting. Maybe just give us a quick run through, and we'll talk about, I think, also, Josh, your air conditioner, which is right here.
Yeah, we sell that. That's a Fresh Air 12 volt. It's an air cooler, not an air conditioner. I travel a lot out west in drier climates. It works really, really efficient in drier climates. The reason I put that in versus a air conditioner is because I don't really camp that much on the in the southeast. Even though I do live in the southeast, I'm usually trying to camp here in the winter when it's not needed. So that is the most efficient way to cool your van in a dry western climate. And that's made by Fresh Air. We sell that. I have a little fan there.
That's 12 volt, it looks like.
It's a 12 volt air cooler. It uses evaporative cooling to cool the air. So it's hooked into my freshwater tank, and it runs water up there. It cools a pine shaving filter, and then it blows cold air into the van. So yeah, it's basically an evaporative cooler.
Sometimes all you need is just a little fan to move the air around.
Yeah.
So I don't even need this situation. I find just moving the air a little bit makes a giant difference in the bedroom.
Yeah.
So kind of run us through what we're looking at here. This looks like, again, outdoor shower for dogs, gear.
Yeah, this is
an
outdoor shower. On my first van, I actually used I have the same kitchen faucet on my first van, and I would just flip that around and shower in my sliding doorway because it's got a pull out sprayer. But I wanted something a little bit more dedicated on this van, so I have a shower here, and I have it set up. I have a shower curtain set up, which is basically a clawfoot shower curtain. So it's a complete 360-degree shower curtain that I just hook onto these little hooks here, and it is basically a 5 by 2.5 foot completely enclosed shower.
So Josh, thanks for the shower information. Got a couple big storage drawers. What's the story on these, and maybe even how big are they?
Yeah, so on my first van, I just had those black and yellow Home Depot storage containers, and everything. Every time I needed to get something, it was always in the back, and I had to get to the back container, so I had to take out the other 3 containers just to get to the one that I needed to get something. So on this van, I was like, no more. I'm putting in these big, beautiful storage drawers. These are 36 inches long by 17 inches wide by 12 inches high. Not much in them right now because I'm not living in the van full time. But these are on 250-pound sliders, and they come out and they just stay out. And I can't live without these. I'm all about, when you live in a van, you want to explore the outdoors, and that means having a lot of gear, and you need a place to store all that gear. And so this is kind of my garage gear storage. So this is all my whitewater kayaking gear and backpacking, hiking gear. All goes in this stuff. And so we got 2 of those. And
then this bad boy, that's like a sliding tray?
Yeah, so this is a product that we sell at Vanlife Outfitters, and this is a sliding tray. I made it the exact height to put a mountain bike. You have to take off the front wheel of the mountain bike, but you can also fit 2 to 4 of those black and yellow storage containers from Home Depot, the ones that I was just talking about. And this pulls out, this is 800 pounds of storage. So you could literally fit 4 people on this,
wow.
And give them a ride. Standing on this. So yeah, and give them a ride. And so you can put whatever you want on this. And so there's that. And so it's really, really convenient when you need to get something. You just pull this out and you can get it. Yeah. So this is 60 inches long by 20 inches wide.
That is great. And then again, you can put a bike.
Yeah, you can put a bike there
with the front wheel off, which is really, really nice. So you put down the cabinet door here to expose what looks like a really kind of high-end lithium system. What's the story here?
Yeah, so this is the electrical system. It's actually on top of a 20-gallon freshwater tank. So I have 40 gallons. I have 20 gallons over each of the wheel wells. And then those 2 batteries they're 200 amp hours each. And so they're the external BMS smart Victron batteries. And those are basically smaller than a 100 amp hour Battleborn battery. And the way that they can do that is the BMS is external of the batteries. So you can fit a lot more energy storage in a smaller form factor. And then right after those 200 amp, so it's a total of 400 amp hours of battery, you have the 3000 watt inverter, you have the Lynx distributor, and then you have a solar charge controller. I have 150 watts of solar on the roof, and then you have the DC to DC charger, the Victron Orion Buck Boost. It's a 100 amp DC to DC charger. I have it set at 70 so I don't overtax my overtax my alternator.
So if you find this interesting, give a thumb up, comment below. Would you do a DIY build yourself, or would you prefer somebody to do the work for you? One of the great things about Vanlife Outfitters is you guys make the components available and provide some expertise on how to do this. And having been a van builder and dweller, you know what you're doing. This isn't like beta testing. This is tried and true. 2.0, right?
Yeah.
So there's some cool stuff up on the roof, and we want to talk about this also, which is the coating on the van. But let's have you actually climb my ladder, Josh, and then I'll hand you the camera. You can talk about the roof deck, which is kind of cool. I wish I had one.
Yeah, so there you can see the rooftop deck. It's like 6 feet of rooftop deck. In the front there you have the solar panels and the max fan. And then in the back you have the fresh air and the WeBoost cell signal booster. And yeah, plenty of room up there to have some libations and some sunset libations and dinner.
On the roof.
And maybe even camp up there a night or two. But
and Josh, you guys sell a number of ladder assembly situations. Is that for
yeah,
yes?
yeah, we actually sell this exact ladder from
So this is
Peter at Rover Vans.
Rover Vans.
We sell that, and we sell a bunch of other ladders, Backwoods Adventure Mods, and yeah, we sell a ton of exterior products for vans.
That's so great. So let's talk about this coating, because this is not a wrap and it's not paint. What are we looking at here? See if we get some good shots.
Yeah, this is just a rhino liner texture. It's a bed liner type texture that's been colored, and I, really like this color. I originally put it on the van to prevent going down forest roads. I mean, like tree branches are no match for this. I had this on my first van, and I really liked the way it turned out on that one, and that's definitely something that I didn't want to change on this van.
Yeah, it's very industrial. Let's go up here and let's talk about the van. You'd mentioned this is for sale, so let's talk about that. Well, maybe kind of run us through the year, mileage, maybe some price bracketing, and how can they learn more about this? Does it have a name?
It's the Boondocker 2.0. It's a
2.0.
2014 Ram Promaster 3500. It's an eco diesel. It has about 59,000 miles on it. I'm asking 89,000. I literally just dropped the price. I am working on another van. It doesn't make sense to have two vans, so I'm getting a little bit more aggressive about selling this one. But it is available, and as of 3 weeks before the Florida Vanlife Gathering, it might get sold at the Florida Vanlife Gathering. So if you definitely are interested in this van, try and get it before then.
Yeah, and where can they learn more to ask specifics, test drive it, whatever?
Yeah, you could contact Josh at vanlifeoutfitters.com. You can also call us. Our number's on our website, but the best way to get in touch with me about this particular van is Josh at vanlifeoutfitters.com.
Yeah, they're actually very responsive, let me tell you. Well, just thanks again for showing us your baby, and somebody's going to have a blast with this van. Josh, thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Journey on, and peace be with you.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.